right, I hope you had a lovely day today. Before I get into the practicing, I wanted to talk a little bit about the way that I pluck the strings. So I think that the way that I use my right hand to pluck the strings is fairly unconventional. I'm not sure about that. I only learned it when multiple people were pointing it out to me when I was in school and saw me plucking the guitar and were just like, hey, what are you doing? What is happening? And at one point, a couple of my colleagues even tried to help me out. They said, hey, play more relaxed and play like this. But I was a bit confused because none of my teachers had ever said anything to me about the way that I was plucking the strings, the angle of my joints and everything. So I was a little bit late with learning classical guitar. I started on electric guitar. And the first pieces that I ever learned on classical guitar were basically the audition pieces to get into music school as a freshman. So I wasn't fortunate enough when I first started learning to be able to have the time to work on easy pieces and spend a lot of time on technique. We just had to kind of fast forward everything and get me up to the level that I needed to be to where I could start at a music conservatory. And of course, there's a lot of things that I had to work on, but the main thing that my teacher at the time kept saying over and over again was just more sound, more sound. So naturally, I guess I interpreted that as just trying to dig into the strings a little bit more. So I want to try and show you exactly how I pluck the strings. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not doing anything weird at all, but these are my observations. So let me show you. All right, so if you're just looking at your index finger here, the different joints in your finger, I think this main one right here is called the MCP joint. That is the joint that I've noticed in my plucking hand that's maybe doing some unconventional things. My understanding is the traditional way that people learn how to play classical guitar. I could be wrong about this, I don't know, but I think it's just to keep your hand relaxed and just move everything in and out like this, just like you're closing the joint. So if you look at this MCP joint, it's just basically rocking up and down like that. Just it's going up and down. So what I've noticed what I do when I pluck the strings, instead of going all the way through and following through like that, I'll come down to about here, and then I'll grab the string and come up with it like this. So instead of following through like that, it goes like this. So instead of just closing my hand like this, I'm doing like this. So let me show you on the guitar what that looks like. So this right here is, I think, the more conventional way, kind of following through with your hand like this. But I do it more like this. So the same way with single notes. I think the conventional way is to play more like this and have the whole joint right here kind of follow through into it. But how I do it when I pluck, I kind of push down into the string and come up. And playing this way allows me to get more sound, I think. So instead of doing arpeggios, I'm not just going like this. It's hard for me to do because I'm not used to it. So it's this joint right here in the fingers that are coming up. But anyway, I'm going to go practice right now. So maybe I'll try and show some close-up angles today of me practicing with that so you can get a better idea of what I'm doing there. So here we go. Alright, I got a pretty good practice session in tonight. So what I think I'm going to do now is I'm going to run through the Allemande. It's the second movement of the third cello suite by Johann Sebastian Bach. And low-key, it's like my favorite one. And it's also the hardest one too, I think. At least for me right now. But I'm going to try. So this is the first time I've tried to record it all the way through, even without the repeats, so be easy on me in the comments. So here it is, Allemande from Third Cello Suite. All right, that's where it's at. Let's go to the couch and talk about my performance that I just gave of the Allemande. All right, so I just watched the video of the performance that I gave of the Allemande. There's a lot of mistakes. This one's very difficult. There's so many intricate passages in this part and so many fluctuating rhythms. So this one's going to take a while. But the tempo that I played it at this evening, I was very happy with. That's my goal tempo, but I can't quite play it at that tempo yet without having mistakes. So what do you guys think when I'm doing my performances of these practice vlogs here? Do you think I should run the piece at a tempo that I feel comfortable at without making any mistakes? Or do you think I should just go for it at my goal tempo and just let the mistakes happen? I've been going more for the latter lately. So there it is. That's the Allemande. Still needs a lot of work, but that's where I'm at. I hope that you were able to understand what I was trying to show you at the beginning of the video with the angle of how I'm plucking the strings and the different angle too that I was filming my performance. What do you think of that angle? Do you prefer it being more straight on, or do you like it at an angle where it's coming in and you can see what my right hand is doing more? But I'm going to leave it there. I really appreciate you watching. I hope you have a good evening. Peace.